Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whenever this video finds you, I hope you're having a rad time. I'm the Figure Dude, and on today's Action Figure Showcase, we have part 2 of my ECW collection. Without further ado, let's talk about some figures. Dude. Welcome back. Like I said, today we have part 2 of my ECW showcase, and there's just going to be 2 parts. I have more ECW stuff coming. We have stuff from Mattel that we're going to be able to add to the line. So in the future, when we get to redo this, there will probably be 3 parts. But today, this is going to be the final part of the ECW collection, and I wanted to start out with maybe not staples, but so Rob Van Dam was definitely a staple of ECW. I think a lot of people, when they think of ECW, they think of Rob Van Dam. And whether that's because of his time in the original ECW, or whether it's because he was probably the most prominent ECW champion in WWE, or just like biggest name. I don't think he actually held the ECW championship that long, but RVD lived in personified ECW, and the attire we have here is the canceled Rising Sun attire, and it got canceled for political reasons. A lot of people, including myself, were not aware of how offensive I get. I don't know. I don't know a lot. I know the Rising Sun is frowned upon, so they canceled that attire. We didn't get another chase, but it was one of the iconic attires that RVD wore. So I had an extra RVD. I had the 3XR Studio decal library has these in there, and I went ahead and just made my own. It is a really cool attire. He wore it multiple times. I think he wore it in his original run in ECW. I think he was overseas in like New Japan, I want to say. I don't know, that could be wrong. I thought that's where he wore it, and then he wore it at WrestleMania 21 maybe? But it was a cool attire. I wanted to make it for RVD. Most of the ones I have of him are colored, so I wanted to go ahead make that RVD for my collection. Steve Corino here, the king of old school, was one of the last ECW champions, and he did come in towards the end, but for a lot of people, I feel like he kind of had like a cult following. After ECW, he never went over to WWE or anything, and he just like I said, he kind of had that cult following from ECW, and I think he just kind of went away. The head sculpt I have for him is from Heteration, I'm pretty sure. The torso is Daniel Bryan, and then the legs are Barry Windham legs, and the crotch piece is actually from a Legends Edge. I cracked the legs off, and then I shaved down the ratchet joint to make them a normal ball joint. So it was a pretty clean custom. It was an easier one to make. Just took a little bit of work on the actual parts. But there's Steve Corino in RVD. Next up, we have 2 guys that I've wanted for a long time. Finally got a chance to make them with some head sculpts from Head Gimmicks. We've got Masato, Tanaka, and Mike Awesome. And admittedly, I want to go back and repaint these. The skin tone is a little off on the head, so I am happy with the customs overall, but I think they could be done a little better head sculpt wise, so I'll go repaint those. But these 2 are like, when I think of one, I think of the other. They had like endless chemistry. When they came back at ECW One Night Stand, they had an absolute killer match, and they're together on my shelf. I think I did them together for Work in Progress Wednesday. Mike Awesome and Masato Tanaka are awesome, no pun intended. The formula for Masato Tanaka was an Iron Sheik torso, a Kevin Owens, no, not a Kevin Owens, a Nasty Boys crotch piece. The legs are Chad Gable's, and then I just acetoned off the the like white tape or white sock part on the lower calves and gave him some different boots. And then for Mike Awesome, I messed around with a few different formulas, and I had some ideas, and it kind of just depended on skin tone as far as pieces went. I ended up going with Hulk Hogan arms, Triple H torso, Hulk Hogan legs, and then the lower legs I can't remember, but they're smaller, and then the boots are like Big Show boots. So I was okay. Like, I think this formula is fine. 3XR Studio, or House 14, excuse me, did some really nice Mike Awesome customs, and he had some head sculpts that are really nice. And with his, he just used a Brock Lesnar body, which I didn't think looked too bad. So I actually plan to do the same, just about the same. I think I'm going to change it up a little bit and try and find some different boots to give him. But for the most part, I thought that was a nice formula. So here's my current Mike Awesome and Masato Tanaka. Next up, a couple other core members of ECW. I couldn't have ECW without these guys. I've got Tommy Dreamer and Paul Heyman. And admittedly, the Paul Heyman, I did about as little as possible, just mixing this up. I still need to really maximize the pieces here. I'd like to get a better head sculpt for Paul. This is just his older manager basic head sculpt with the ECW hat from his Legends figure, and then I took the McFarlane Penguin figure, which a lot of people have done this, and I put that coat over the basic, which I think looks fantastic. I just need to repaint. I need to paint it also at all matches and everything, and the arms are black, and then the coat's kind of a darker blue, so it doesn't stand out huge, but it's not perfect. So I am going to get that taken care of, make it look a little bit better. I don't know if we'd ever get that from Mattel. I think it'd be really cool, but they haven't given us a ton of Paul Heyman figures. And then with Tommy Dreamer, I took the legs from the Festival of Friendship Kevin Owens, I'm pretty sure. And then I used the t-shirt torso from Farouk or Bradshaw, one of their Elite 38 figures. And then the arms are actually from an IRS. So I've seen some people use the Rey Mysterio SummerSlam torso, which looked really good. I thought that was a cool way to do it. I know I've seen more, but that's what I went with for Tommy Dreamer. For the head sculpt, his is from a Jax figure. So I had that Tommy Dreamer Jax figure for a long time, and I think it isn't, I don't think it's too big. I think it fits the body pretty well compared to some of the other stuff. And there it is, Tommy Dreamer and Paul Heyman. Next up, we have another RVD, as well as one of my favorites in my Taz custom right here. And the RVD, I can't remember which pay-per-view this was based off of, but I had a Jax figure that was supposed to be this attire. It just lacked some of the, the total, I don't think it had the back design on it. I think it had the front design, but not the back. I had that Jax figure, so it was very nostalgic for me to make this attire. Again, it was another Elite 91 RVD, got all the tiger design off, and then put the new decals on. So this was actually one of the easier RVD customs I've done, because it's just ghost white decals, and it was pretty simple to do. With the Taz figure, that one I put a lot of work into as far as the formula. I repainted the torso and the head sculpt. The legs are from a Bronson Reed figure, and then I painted the boots. And then the torso is actually a Fit Finley Elite, and the arms are Yokozuna biceps with Alberto Del Rio lower arm for forearms, and then the head sculpt is from a Jax figure. I repainted that. That was one of the Jax classic figures I had of Taz for a long time. And then the towel, I think that was one of the towels from a Cesaro figure. And then the belt is from Chaos Wrestling Club. He makes belts on Instagram. They are fantastic. I did want to compare just the belts. So we've got the FTW belt here. So I'll take the towel off of my Taz here. So here is the FTW belt from Chaos Wrestling Club. I really like his belts. They're 3D printed. They're painted fantastically. I have painted one, and I just painted the new World Heavyweight Championship, and it looked fine. But as far as the detail goes, I'm not quite sure how he does it. It looks so good. There's his version. Here is the one we just got from Jazzwares. So this one is obviously shiny. You can see them side by side there. My favorite thing, honestly, about these is probably just like the leather texture. Like, they look like real belts. They've got the like the little studs on them right here, and then the Velcro. So with the Velcro, I like that I can adjust it a little better. Obviously, this is just like the more traditional one. And with this FTW belt specifically, they only gave it 3 notches. So I can't even fit it well on Taz because the notches are wonky. Or actually, it might fit on the Taz figure. It doesn't fit on, like, Ricky Starks or any of the AEW guys that have held the belt. So I've been posing them with this one, typically. But there is Taz and RVD. Next up are a couple of customs that, honestly, I am hoping to retire in the next year, maybe. We have Devon and Bubba Ray, and we did just see a Mattel version of these guys coming. I am so excited. I've always liked the Dudleys. I've always liked their figures. Even back in the Jax days, if I saw a Dudley boy, I was going to pick it up. I don't know. The parts for these were so random and put together that I don't know what I'll do, if I'll just like break them up, maybe repaint them. I don't know. But as the great poet Taylor Swift said, I think I've seen this film before and I didn't like the ending. And I am not going to jump the gun because we have had Mattel show us stuff and then never gotten it. So I'm not going to do anything with these until I have those Dudley Boy figures in my hands. The new ones look awesome. These ones, like I said, the formulas were really difficult to get together. I used a t-shirt torso for Devon. I used John Cena legs. The crotch piece is actually from an Undertaker figure because that fit the t-shirt torso. The t-shirt torso doesn't fit on like a normal crotch piece peg. Then the knee pads are from a Kushida. Boots are from Sami Zayn. And then I used a Jax head for him and Bubba as well. The Bubba Ray, I used a Kevin Owens with Cesaro lower legs from his first Elite 23, some Bob Orton boots, and then the t-shirt arms from a Big Boss Man figure. So it was a lot of work went into them. I had a lot of fun. I'm really happy with how they look, but I'm more excited to get the official versions with some more like official kind of tooling and whatnot. So there are my current Devon and Bubba Ray Dudley ECW customs. Like I did with part 1, I wanted to end showing you guys some of the work in progress ECW figures that I've got coming that I've pieced together, just haven't gotten totally into work yet. So here we have Tony Mamaluke and Nunzio of the FBI, and I know I've talked in the comments a bit with some of you guys about making like everyone in the FBI, and that is on the menu. Then we have the Lance Storm that I mentioned I was going to be making, as well as a Just Incredible. And this Lance Storm, I do know for sure is going to be in his green and black look. And then Just Incredible here, I have a really nice head sculpt from House 14, so I'm going to paint that up. Really excited to get to these two and make the Impact players. Then the last ones I had today were Too Cold Scorpio and the Mike Awesome I had talked about. So got a couple more tweaks on Mike Awesome and Too Cold Scorpio. He's pretty much ready to go, but I've wanted him for a long time. I got that head from Tom Veg, and then like I said, that Mike Awesome is from House 14. So I'm really excited to add all these to the collection. I think they're going to look fantastic once they're done, and then we're just going to keep going. I'll add like Public Enemy, the Pit Bulls, you name it. I'm going to try to add everybody. That is the ultimate figure goal for me, is just to have everyone. So if you like what we're doing here on the channel, please continue to like, share, subscribe. I always appreciate it. And remember, you can't buy happiness, but you can buy more action figures. Figure Dude out.